Welcome back to All Things Pink, and it's May, which means the month that we celebrate mothers everywhere. Today is part two of our series with special guest Carolyn Magers, also known as my mom. Now, she goes by a lot of different names. I don't think we've ever called her by her first name. She is Mama C, Madre, Mamacita. To the kids, she's Grammy, Graham Cracker, or Grams. And there's so much love there. She is one of the most empowered women that I know and an extraordinary mother. So today we are going to be celebrating those strong, empowered moms that we look up to.
Out in the open, to the horizon, where your heart can finally breathe. Out in the open, to the horizon, baby, let your love run wild, wild, wild. You gotta get out there and explore, baby, let your love run wild, wild, wild.
So welcome back to the show. I'm glad that you once again decided to do this with me, and I felt that it was entirely appropriate given that it is May and it's Mother's Day week and you just had a
My birthday.
birthday. Are you going to share how old you are? Are you
I'm
gonna
not
share?
yet. Well, I'm not. I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Well,
But
you
I will
technically are.
be
Yes. Okay.
84.
Okay. So well, she doesn't look 84, does she? Not at all. So the first thing I'm going to thank you and dad for, because I had amazing parents, is great hair. Okay. And looking young, far, far beyond when most people start to actually like look their age. Because obviously, that's a gift that keeps on giving. And
Mhm.
I'm very, very grateful for that. I personally, all the people say like I had the best mom ever. I really am very appreciative of the things that you taught us, the roads that you paved, the example that you showed. Even when you know, I know the challenges, and I don't think that we really know that until we have kids, and then we're like,
Right.
oh my God, this is why my mom was always tired. This is why she didn't give a shit anymore. This is why, like all those things, right? You just kind of like learn that your parents are flawed. There's like a moment in time when you realize that. And I'm just putting this out there in the beginning of this because we have this culture that's so easily cancels people. And I just want to put it out there for the record that for every quote unquote mistake, I, being older now, can see you always worked with the cards that you were dealt. And so, sometimes we have interesting relationships with our moms and like we can blame them for everything that happened, which is just entirely an untruth. I'm very grateful. I think for when I was younger and all the things I kind of thought I should have or whatever. Um, I think you always did the very best that you could with what you had.
Thank you.
I do think, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but I think things were very different back then. But growing up in the dynamic that we had, me and my brothers, was very different, kind of unique for the time, and that was she worked and my dad stayed home. Obviously it wasn't always like that. But what I remember, because that was more I was younger. So like this is kind of like I remember him being home the whole time. So I had a stay-at-home dad, which was very strange at the time. Like I think it's great and I think it's progressive and I think it's awesome. And it worked for us, but it wasn't necessarily I feel like it was judged by others
At
that had
times.
expectations in society. Again, that dynamic of the woman being the breadwinner isn't always looked at in a positive way. And I think there's misconceptions about that because there are challenges that come with that. It's not like good or bad. It's just what it was. So, having said that, how did that actually come about? Because it would have been in the 70s when that was decided that you were going to stay with your job and you were going to be the breadwinner and he was going to stay home,
Yeah, somewhere in the 70s, I would think.
which could have been kind of like the beginning of progressive like concepts.
Well, you were born in we
74.
were already doing that.
Just said how old I was.
No,
Like,
we hadn't started that because that's when we had the babysitters.
okay, so
So
how did it all start? Like, when he was working?
he was working, it was called Carter Rock at the
Mhm.
time. So the travel was longer and he was later getting home
How far
than
away?
I
That's
was.
pretty far away
It's,
from.
I don't know exactly, Bethesda type,
So like an
but on the
hour.
other side, like Virginia side.
And like with
So,
traffic, that's like an
oh
hour
yeah,
at least.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm trying to think where to start here.
Well,
we
you guys were both working at
we were
that
both
time.
working, yeah,
So you had to find
and we had to find
childcare,
childcare. Now,
which was a nightmare.
his mother kept the first child, and I went from Germantown to Gaithersburg to
Mhm.
deliver and go pick up and all that. By the time we got the second child, we had moved out here
Okay.
because we lived
Yeah.
in an apartment first. Then we moved to our house out
Right.
in the country. So we had to locate babysitters. And
I only
that
remember
in
one of
itself
them.
was kind of challenging because those who kept kids already had more than they wanted to handle. And we found one that had at least 12 every day,
Good God.
and sometimes more, sometimes less. And she had 3 or 4 of her own, I think.
Yeah.
She was a German lady. So
Mhm,
she was
mhm.
very gruff and a little hard to deal with. But we didn't have any other choice. We
Yeah.
had to find somebody to keep these kids. And no one would take 3.
Yeah.
We could find one to take 1 or one maybe to take 2, and we thought, we're not gonna split them all up. So
Right.
we decided on,
You
okay,
probably wouldn't have known
even though
about
she had
anything
a
of crazy
dozen
stuff.
already at her house,
Yeah.
we chose her. And we had her for quite a while. I would
That's the one
say,
I remember.
yeah, because you
Like
were a baby. You were
barely.
a
I
baby.
barely remember.
But she used a lot of the children as workers. What do you call it? Child labor, I
Yeah.
guess. And she had a swimming pool, and if the kids didn't know how to swim, she would just sort of abruptly, she threw my second child in the swimming pool.
Good God.
And they grabbed him out before he drowned, obviously. But
Well, thank God for that.
but the older children, she used them to work in the garden. They picked berries for her to make pies with. She utilized all the kids in her care.
So this is, I guess, why we have regulations
Yeah, she
and
well, and
licensures and
most
stuff.
babysitters then were not licensed.
Yeah. That's
So
hard.
they could do whatever they pleased. They didn't have anybody checking on them. They had no regulations to follow.
That would scare the bejesus out of me.
Yes,
Like they're
really. But where we were moved to, there weren't a lot of people doing that.
Right.
All homemaker type people that would take kids in, make extra money.
That is
So
something
for a long
that I
time, we
can't
didn't know what was
imagine.
going on at this house.
And I was too young.
You were too young. Kenny wouldn't say, he wouldn't speak. So, but he finally started making comments about things that were
Yeah.
going on there. And she had infants that she was smacking around and doing
See,
things that
I
she
remember
shouldn't be
that. I
doing.
remember that.
So we started thinking, okay, I can't go to work and have this going on every day.
Well,
So
sure.
we started looking for others. So we ended up probably changing to 3 or 4 different other ones. One lady got cancer and couldn't take care of the kids anymore. My middle child screamed and hollered, and I had to drag him out of the car to go to a different house. So there was obviously something bad going on there too.
And
So
that
that went on for months and
yeah.
months, years even trying to keep them somewhere. And so
That's really hard as a mom
it
when you
is.
have to, and then you have to go to work and you know you need to go to work.
Yeah.
But not knowing what's going on with your kid, but seeing signs of
Well, and
distress
hearing little
or
things
trauma.
from the older child of what
Yeah,
what
like
she made them do during the day and things like
right,
that.
right. So dad was working, you were working, and you guys kind of decided that like something's
Yeah.
got to give, like
Yeah.
somebody's got to give up
Well, I was up in
working.
my level of work, progressing and everything, and I made way more than he did. So it was costing him to go way down the road
Yeah.
to work, and um, it seemed like the logical solution.
Well,
Just you stay
yes,
home and take these kids because they were getting older, they were in school, they wanted to do
we
activities, and
were.
yeah. And I mean, well, I was finding myself racing out of where I was working, racing up the road and having at one time 3 kids in 3 different areas
Yeah.
doing activities. And I get to one place one night and my middle child is in the coach's car and it's dark. And the coach sat there and waited until I got there.
Well, it's
It was starting
hard.
to get
Like,
more than stressful.
yeah, well,
This was
yeah.
becoming like, I can't handle this, you know?
So you guys
So
decided that what
we
was best
decided
for
the best
you,
thing,
both like for your kids, for your sanity,
yeah,
and economically, was to go against the norm
right.
and to do this.
He
Now,
could stay home, and that way he could
yeah.
take you or get you from whatever you were
Do you
doing.
feel like you experienced judgment from that?
Well, sure, because most dads didn't stay home then.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it from family, I got it from people I worked with,
Yeah.
you know, and they didn't understand, his health was deteriorating as well, and
Mhm.
so, you know, we were maybe looking forward to wheelchair time at some point in his life, so it was like, you know, "Why don't you stay home, enjoy your children, do things for them, whatever."
Mhm. Mhm. Well, I think that it was good though that you did that. Well, for multiple reasons, but
Yeah,
also because it kind of taught us that it is okay
it's okay.
to go outside of what somebody else expects of
Yeah,
you, and that it was like going against those judgments, and technically is something that wasn't even meant to be a lesson, I think turned out to be. So I thought it was great. I didn't see anything wrong with it.
right,
So when I talk about that, it's probably why I am the way that I am. That like I'm like, whatever. You got to do what's best for you and not necessarily go by what society expects that to
right.
be. Because sometimes you just have to,
Mhm,
right?
yeah.
So, what do you feel? And I don't think that this has changed a whole lot from when you were like a young mother, so the 70s, 80s, whatever, to now. I don't think that societal expectations have changed that much. But what do you think the expectation was? And I think this, for me, how I look at this is the expectation to juggle all things. So if you
Yeah.
are a working mom, you're still supposed to
Fix
balance
dinner, wash
all
the
the other,
clothes,
yes.
and you spend your entire weekend working your behind off, and then if you planted a garden, you had to work in the garden, uh, and then
Yes.
you had to can the stuff that you got out of the garden
Yeah.
when you
So
came
there were
home
still
after work. Yeah,
expectations.
yeah,
Right, so you're working all of that. I
all
I
the
will,
time.
like, never forget at Christmas having to, like, help you wrap a gazillion gifts after you've worked all day, sometimes, overtime hours, and then
Yeah,
took us out to all the places that we needed to be, then went to the grocery store, we had, like, 3 carts of groceries, and then, all the cooking and, every
right.
school thing that we had, you had all of the stuff prepared. Like, I don't even know how she did it. Like,
Well, I tried not
I
to miss
can't
anything either.
You
I mean,
didn't. You still went on field
I
trips
went on the field
and you
trips.
packed every lunch,
I
made
went
every
to every
breakfast.
activity
Yeah,
at night that I could manage.
I know. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, I can barely handle my 2. I remember this.
Mhm.
So you had help at home, technically. Poor
Well,
dad.
yeah. He had to be trained
Trained him.
to do some things because
Training a guy is
at
no
first,
fun.
no. He always cut the grass.
He did like the
He
outside
did
stuff.
outside stuff.
Yeah.
And
And
if
like worked on
something
the
broke
cars.
down, he got the repairman here and things like those are all things that will come later. But he did all of those things, but he had never washed clothes. And when he made dinner, he used 4 times as many pans and dishes and whatever that then I had to clean up after I got home. So
Yeah, so you're
it
kind of like, you know
I
what,
was
that's not really
thankful,
helpful.
but not, please don't.
I feel that way about laundry because
I
I'm like,
remember when you all made my birthday cake one
I
time.
was just gonna bring that up.
Oh my goodness. The
It was a
kitchen was a god-awful
disaster. It was a
mess.
disaster.
Yeah.
And it like fell apart. I remember
And
that.
you appreciate it,
But you're kind of like,
but
you
the
just
other part of it
created
is
a
you
mess
clean
for
them up.
me
Thank
to
you.
clean up. And I think that's
So
like,
just please do certain things.
yeah, like you got to
Yeah.
stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like more work.
You're giving me more work to do than if I had to do it
Yeah,
myself.
like so training is good.
No, thank you.
Training's good.
So-
But not when if they don't listen, then
Right.
training is not good. Like
Yeah.
it's like the training is not working.
Right.
So, I think he probably had to potentially fight with more judgment because men were expected to be the providers and expected to do
Yeah.
specific things, and he was very different in that way.
I would
So I'm
think
sure
so.
that did he ever express that to you?
Not very often, no. I don't think so. I mean, only through his own family.
Well,
They
yeah.
they objected, obviously, because they
He
didn't
was
think I
really
should have worked in the
headstrong
first place,
though.
but
Like he was headstrong, and I think in the way that like once he was like, okay, this
well,
is
and
what it's gonna be.
he wasn't happy with the job he had.
Yeah.
He couldn't even stick with it 5 years to get paid any benefits from the government.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. So, well, he did heating and air conditioning, and
Right.
they had them doing crazy things like getting up on the fan that's in the ceiling of this great big room, and they're flying around trying to repair something.
Wow.
No, he did not particularly like that job. So,
So let's talk about sacrifice as a mom because we're celebrating all the moms out there, and every mom sacrifices something. Probably a lot of things. But a working mom, when you work and you have to balance all of these things and juggle all the balls, and I feel like maybe it was so commonplace for you that you don't really remember what the sacrifice was, but it was.
yeah, but during school time,
Mm-hmm.
kids were in school, so I didn't miss a whole lot. I just had to make sure I got to whatever happened after school, or activities, nighttime type.
But sacrificing, I
Summertime.
mean, for you,
Oh,
what did you sacrifice for you as a human? Because we are
well, just
moms,
in general,
but
you miss out on things.
we're
You
more
know,
than just moms. We are humans. And I know, like, once you have kids, it kind of takes over your world, right? And you kind of have so much going on. A partner, you are a
well, you're busy,
mom,
so you
you're
don't really
working.
have time to talk to your kids or to find out what their day was like or anything. You kind of become oblivious
Yeah.
to them, I
Well,
think,
but also to
and to me,
yourself.
because you're missing out on knowing them better. Or
Did you ever sacrifice getting new clothes so that you
oh,
could
absolutely.
pay for your
Well, I had to have a
kids?
certain amount more than I had as a child,
No,
but
but you know what I mean, like
yeah.
sacrificing things that you wanted
Well, yeah,
to be
because
able to provide that for
well,
your
you
kids.
have to pay for all activities your kids are in. Uh,
You feed them.
You feed them. Yeah,
Kids
and
are
as they
expensive.
get older, they eat a whole lot more,
Yeah.
you know? Um, I don't know, I can't really
I
think of a
I
whole
think
lot that
that we sacrifice our peace and quiet and anything that
well, I was
resembles
definitely tired most of the time, I know that.
because you didn't stop going.
No,
And
no,
so like there was in that this is the thing that hasn't changed as much.
no.
Because we're still sacrificing me time and
Mhm.
our own health,
Yeah.
our own wellness to the point where you don't even think about it. So if I said,
Right.
what are you going to sacrifice? Like what have you sacrificed? You probably think, well, nothing. But if you start to dig under those layers,
Yeah.
moms sacrifice a lot. And it doesn't stop when they're 18. It doesn't stop. I
No.
said to my son the other day, I'm going to be worried about you when you're 40, when you're 50. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
matter.
No.
It doesn't matter that you graduate and you move on. I'll be worried from over here. Now now I'm different. I will still go on my trips and I will go do like me
Mm,
things. But in my gut, I'm going to be worried about you. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you call
right.
me in the middle of the night, my heart I will have a cardiac episode,
Yes.
and, like, it's
Yes,
gonna be, like,
for sure.
because I still do that
Yeah.
with my daughter because it's just like, "Jesus, what is it now?" Like, but we sacrifice that just in general, and it doesn't change, you
No.
know, we all have always moms have always sacrificed themselves. And we have to learn how to kind of dial that back and remember that you know, none of this would be possible without us. And I think that's
True.
why we celebrate this because none of this would be possible
Well, and I
if
don't
we
think
weren't
you
here.
realize it till you're old enough and have your own, and then you
Oh,
understand
yes.
a little better.
You do. Because also, and this is very commonplace, do you feel like you ever thought you weren't measuring up?
Oh, absolutely.
Like you had talked outside of this about, being at work and you're in tears because the babysitters are total crap and you're worried that your kids are being abused,
Yeah.
and you're
And I
like,
start my morning off dragging the one out of the car and shoving him into this woman's
yes.
house.
And you're thinking, my God,
Like,
what am I
what am
doing?
I doing to my kid?
Yeah.
You know? Am I brain damaging here? Am I, are they gonna suffer trauma
Well, yeah,
from all of these
kind of
things
a,
that are
yeah.
happening?
Well, yeah. In what
Yeah,
other
you
ways
do.
did you feel like, I personally feel like you question that every
And I
day?
would go in with like, I had been crying in the car all the way driving to
Mhm.
work, and my roommate would say, "Oh dear, what's wrong today?"
Yes.
And then we'd have our conversation and our tears over. We left our kids. She fortunately had her parents next door, so she
But see,
didn't have
that's
as
a
much trauma as I did.
sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's a sacrifice. That's like
Oh,
you're
yeah.
and you're constantly questioning whether you're doing the right thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
We
don't
thought we
think
were initially,
well, you're
but
doing
you
your best
yeah,
with the cards that you're
you try.
dealt. And I think that's just a concept that we don't really talk about enough is that as moms, we question
And I'm
this.
sure that
Well, you know what I'm going to say?
I bet you
Most
women
moms.
today still have the same
Oh,
issues. It
yeah.
just maybe not as severe.
For sure they
You know,
do.
they don't all have their moms to keep their kids, or
Right.
they have to pay
I
somebody. Well,
did.
they have to pay somebody to take care
Yes.
of them, and you really don't know what's going on, or you let them into your house and you need a camera
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
need to know what's
No,
you need to know
I
what's happening.
totally get that, but we also constantly feel like we're not measuring up in so many ways. Like, did we
Well,
it
you're not there to teach
was
them
the
everything. Y
discipline too
Yeah,
much or not enough or
yeah,
you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, and
mhm,
society's telling you this that you're doing all this wrong,
yeah.
you know, and you're trying to listen to your gut, but I feel that the biggest pressures actually come from out there when we should be
But there are
kind
so
of
many more
here.
women working now that I wonder if it is as much coming from the
Well,
outside
now
as
it's about different things, though.
well,
Now
okay,
it's all the
could be.
psychologists telling you you should
Oh,
do this and
yeah,
you
you're
should do
not
that, and you're flooded with the same pressures and lack of sleep.
mhm.
Although now I feel that we have a push towards focusing on our own wellness more. I don't feel like in your time like that was even talked about.
No.
I feel like now the conversation is happening where we're like, okay, maybe we're not doing it wrong. Like maybe we are accepting that that it's okay and that we need to start thinking about our
Well, and there are
own
a lot of
health.
parents that do travel and leave their kids. They
Mhm.
don't, like, suffocate them, or, you know, stay
I
right on top
travel.
of every little thing they're doing
Yes.
because they
So
have
that
other
is
interests now.
but that's a very that's interesting because did you feel responsible for our happiness?
I don't think anyone felt worried about my happiness when I grew up. So I guess I'm a little more hard-nosed there.
But did you feel so you did all those things and you took us everywhere and you
Yeah,
did your best
but
to
I
buy
didn't,
us the
like,
things
buy
that we
you
wanted?
everything you wanted, and I
No.
didn't, overload you with thoughts of who you should be or what you should be or
No, we were
anything
lucky that way. Like we were allowed so that's something that I think is important
because I had
and
my lane back then, and so I wasn't
yeah,
gonna do that to my kids.
you didn't.
They can
Like
think for
we could have
themselves, they can
been
do
whatever we wanted to be. And you and
yeah,
dad both had
yeah,
that like thought process where like whatever you want to do, just do it 100%. It was always
mhm.
like, what it doesn't matter. You want to fly off the roof.
Well,
Well, I wasn't allowed to
yeah,
fly
my
off the roof, but you want to create something, you want to
right.
have a passion. If you want to, we will support you. And I never had like
And
that
even your dad with the
prison.
religious beliefs,
Mhm.
you become whatever you wanna be.
Yeah.
Just because we were Methodist doesn't mean that's what you have to be. You
And that
do whatever
changes
you
over
want.
time.
Yeah.
But what I mean is it's a newer concept for parents to constantly have to entertain their kids,
Yeah.
constantly have to give them everything. And I didn't grow up that way. So
No.
it's hard because you constantly feel like you're not measuring up if you don't do it.
I think all 3 of you entertained yourselves
Oh
most of
yeah.
the time. But maybe that's because I wasn't there all the time, so I don't know if that
No, I think it's because you're like,
as a
okay,
balance,
if you're going to be bored, then you're just going to be
yeah,
bored and you have to use your
you
brain
have to figure out
and
how not to be
creativity to
bored.
figure out like what it's owning it
Right.
early and we did and it
Mhm.
was a different time frame and now it's
Right.
like, you know, and I fall into that trap all the time where you hear all this stuff and you're like, do I need to entertain my kids? I think it's dumb, but I'll
Yeah.
fall into that same
Yeah.
exact trap.
Well, and I think people today, they worry more about what their kids are thinking or what they're watching or what they're
That's what I'm
doing
talking
or they're,
about.
and every kid in your family is different.
Yeah.
So you can't mold them to where you want them to be or look
Yeah.
like or what job they're going to have. They got to do their own thing.
Yeah,
They'll
as
be
long as
much
they have
happier that
one.
way. That's how you make them happy.
Well, I mean, but I think that
So,
these are some of the differences in raising kids. I
yeah.
I think I kind of think you had an easier time when it
Oh,
came to
yeah.
like society and
Kids
what
were a
we were
lot
exposed to.
more respectful. They were a lot more, um, what do you call it? Balanced. I don't know.
We were definitely more self-sufficient.
More self-sufficient at earlier ages.
Yeah, we weren't exposed to as much. You are
You know,
exposed. These young people
they're
are
exposed to way too
exposed
much.
to things way before their time that they don't understand.
Right.
Um, and we don't know what to do with
I think
that.
all 3 of mine were prepared to leave home by the time they were 18.
I
They
was
they
so
didn't all
ready.
leave at that time,
I did. I
but
was
they
out the
could have,
door.
but they didn't stay around, but we also could afford it.
It wasn't I was ready to leave because you prepared me to. It was not because I wanted to,
Right.
because believe me, like you created a comfortable place, but because I was supported in being you can do whatever you want to do, and encouraging me to follow a path, I was ready. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm
You were
good. I
17.
was
You
17
left
years
home
old.
and went to Florida.
Yep.
So
And I'm like, and went to
by yourself.
college and yeah, flew on a plane for the first time alone. And, um, but that prepared me because I knew that I could
And part
do
of that, I
that.
think, is because I would never had done it. I didn't fly until I flew with you one time in my entire life. So,
Well, I think
you
there's
know,
that level we want more
more
for
for
our
your kids. Yeah.
kids than what we had. Although I kind of look back and I'm just like, I feel now like I had a lot
Yeah.
because even though we did not have a lot of money,
Right.
and things were strict in a lot of ways, I feel like that molded me to be
Hmm.
like the badass. I do.
It could
I mean, I
be.
feel like, and I had
Yeah.
such great role models in that way. Not and they were flawed. You and dad had your flaws, but it was
Well,
never anything to
but
me.
your dad also never objected to having a wife that worked.
That's what I'm saying.
He
Like
he
it
never
was
put women
open-minded.
down.
Oh no, definitely
He
not.
thought they should be paid the same as men in
Yeah,
whatever. If they were welders, they should be paid like a welder. If they
absolutely.
were a
He
fireman,
was
they should be
very much a
paid like a
feminist in that
fireman.
way. He was very progressive in
Very
thinking,
yeah.
which, um, I don't know if he could stand to raise kids today.
No,
It
I
would
don't think
it
be too
would
much.
blow his
Yeah.
mind, even though he did spoil my daughter. Like he did in the short time before he passed that she was here. Um,
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's kind of funny because my kids will talk about Grammy here, and I'm just like, "Yeah, it wasn't like that when I was a kid. Like, you were so much more strict. Now you're like, she's super nice and they get whatever they want." Okay. And I'm like, something happens.
Yeah,
Like something happens to the mom when she becomes
the
the
grandma.
grandmother.
Oh, yeah.
So what is this that happened? I'm not there yet, thank God, but
I
like
I
what
don't
happened?
know.
Is it like payback
I didn't
to
wanna be a
me?
grandmother, if you'll recall. I kept saying, "I'm too young." No, no. But once that little one comes into the world, I don't know. It's a magic wand somewhere. Something changes in your system, and you just become nicer, more caring.
Mm.
You bend over backwards for them. You'll do anything they want
You're
you to
strict
do.
as hell on
Twist it
your own
around your
kids.
finger, whatever you
Yeah.
wanna call it.
It is. There's a
There's a
shift
shift. Mhm.
because then all of a sudden the rules change and
Uh,
we're over here like that was
well,
not how
and the
we were raised.
grandmother looks at it like,
You
I
did your
can do with
time.
them whatever I want to, and then they go back to them, and I don't care what and when they're too little to talk and tell what's been going on.
Well, no,
No, it's
my kids have known where the candy's been hidden for
Oh,
years,
I'm
and
sure.
they
Yeah.
know. And I used to hear, "I'll just ask Grammy, and I'll get it." And I'm like, "I bet you will," But I feel like that's that shift.
It's a
So
shift.
we don't just
So
celebrate the
we
moms.
not
We
only
we,
shift
we
with
also
menopause, we shift when the
yeah,
babies come. Yeah,
exactly
again.
the
Yeah.
grandbabies.
And also,
I'm
I
not looking
think
forward to
too,
that.
because I wasn't here to have my own little ones all the time. I was
Yeah.
gone. And
So what
so the
we did,
grandkids were
yeah,
like having them all over again.
I
So
let you take my kids to the field trips and
oh, yeah.
to everything because I'm a working mom.
Right.
And so it was going to be and so I kind of like just let her.
Yeah, she signs me up, and then she
Yeah.
tells me I'm already signed up.
Well,
Thank
because I
you.
know you like doing it and you're retired, so I was like, okay, you can have
That part,
some
yeah.
of that part. But I there's wonderful things about having grandkids, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
And that you get to like spoil them and whatnot. But I'm sure there's bad parts too.
Well, Yeah, when they start moving away from you
Yeah.
and they don't want to go anywhere with you.
When they become
I mean,
teenagers, I'm gonna
your kids
translate that.
used to have your daughter had her bag packed before
Oh,
school
yeah.
was even out,
And
ready to
she's
come
ready
here
to
for
come to
2 to 3
Grams.
weeks, and we
Mhm.
went places. We drove and we went places. Um, Charlie is
Yeah.
usually ready whenever he can come here.
Yeah.
He calls it peace and quiet because
But as they get
they
older, things change, and
it
then they're
changes.
and
Now,
I think there's
he's lasted longer than any of them
I
actually.
think
Still he still
that
hugs me. He still wants to
yeah.
come. Travel, not so much. We have
Yeah.
difficulty with that one now. But I think at age 11 or 12, they start moving away. And
But I think that that's an evolution that we accept as we get older too.
yeah,
When our kids stop wanting to do things with us because they're trying to embark on their own
well, you
life.
all would walk away from me sitting in the grandstands at your games and stuff or at your and
Yeah,
act
see,
like
now
you
I
didn't
feel
know,
bad
you
at
didn't act
I
like
feel
you knew who
bad
I
about it now.
was because,
I
but
think you
that's
get older, you
okay.
feel bad that you
Yeah,
ever did that to
but
your parents.
you did, all of you did.
And I
Y-
think but it's an evolution
But they have
of
to.
we
If they
have to do
don't, they're
that.
not growing up.
Yes, you
They're
want your
not
kids to
becoming
fly.
adults.
Yeah, and you
So
have to
it's
let them
hurtful,
go
but you
find
have
it.
to let them go
Mhm.
and let them do those things to you that are hurtful. But I think that's why you all were more adult like when you were 18.
Yeah,
Now
because
kids
we
are
already
30 and they're
I
still not
know.
there.
I know.
So
Believe me. And so but this is just part of that
things do
mother
change every
thing, like,
20
you
years, every 10
yes,
years,
it's an
whatever.
evolution that we must accept and
Yeah.
find, like, the good things, the freedoms in it,
Yeah.
where now you can do whatever the hell you want
Right.
to,
Exactly.
and you don't have to deal with any of that, and it's bittersweet.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
so, and also, we lost dad in 2004, so that's something that really shook
Yeah. Well, that
everything.
was partly because I retired in 2003. He passed away 1 year later. We had plans.
Yeah.
Um, Lots of plans that never materialized. So,
I knew I was gonna cry. Like, I saved this one for last for that reason because it was so devastating
well,
to have that
it was a
loss. Yeah,
sudden
it was
death.
sudden. He wasn't sick, so, like and we were all so tight. It was a
And
unit,
we were
and
planning a trip across the country.
and to lose that, and then to be in your retirement, and to, like, literally have this shock of this is your partner, this is, like, and our dad, and, like, it's gone like that, and, I do have to say that oh god. I have to say that you have moved forward well in comparison to
Many
other
people, yeah.
many people. You still take care of this whole yard, and the house,
Well,
and, like, all the
had
stuff.
never ridden the lawnmower, the big one. I had to learn how to ride that. I had to learn how to call for the fuel oil. There were things he took care of those kinds of things in the house because he was here.
Yeah,
I didn't know how to do any of it, really. I paid the bills, so I did know where we stand.
thank God.
And I've
Yeah.
had neighbors that did not know when their husband passed.
Yeah, when that
They didn't even know
happens
what they owed, what they paid, who they paid, what they
and we
had,
we
nothing.
we were grown, so
But you were grown.
we didn't have, that's, a good
It's a good
thing
thing.
that,
Yeah.
you weren't then
Saddled with
yeah,
little
like,
ones
just trying to
too.
figure that
Yeah.
out and trying to raise them by yourself.
Yeah.
But either way, it's still a huge blow because you think your life is gonna be one thing,
Yeah.
and then
It's
a
just not.
huge loss happens, and then you have to completely change that.
Yeah.
But you pulled up your bootstraps, right? Or
Yeah.
is that how you say that?
Yeah. Used to.
And you kept going.
Yeah.
And I think it's great. It's still sad. It's always going to be sad. There's not going to be a time that
Yeah.
we
It
ever
is.
bring that up that I don't like tear up. But I commend you on the fact that you were able to still like persevere and move forward, and you have a full schedule at 84, and
Yeah.
like you are active.
I was just telling someone the other day, next week I have something every single day.
Yeah,
And
every
when
day.
I don't have time to cut my grass now because I have to go eat lunch or dinner or whatever,
Yeah, yeah, but you created a very strong like legacy, so you should be proud of that.
I am.
I
I am.
always looked at you as this strong, empowered female, which led me to feel like I could do anything. Now you had dad in there who
I
was
did
always
want to travel,
yes.
which I have not been able to do because of other things going on. That's kind of been squashed a little, but it's also because I lost my sister, I lost my brother.
And
I don't
dad
have
and yeah,
a partner to do a lot of those things with. So
right. And that's hard.
it's hard.
And that's hard to accept that as well,
Yeah.
you know.
And I can tell any woman out there, if you lose your husband, you are treated like a non-couple anymore, and you do not get invited to things that you used to get invited to.
So if your
So,
mom is a widow, right?
widow, yeah.
A widow. Make sure you love her extra hard on this day, because it's not just about kids. It's about the other people. If she's living alone or she's
Yeah.
older, like just remember that they're there. At least send something, freaking call.
Call every once in a while.
Like
That would be helpful to check to make sure I'm still here.
yes, it's so important. They, even if they weren't the best mom,
Yeah.
at least call them, especially on this day,
Yeah.
because they're probably feeling something, and it's like the
Yeah.
least that you can do. So thank you
Yeah.
again for coming on the
welcome.
show. I thought this was appropriate to bring my mom on for this holiday. And thank you guys for joining us. As always, if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps us. And if you would like to listen, you can listen on Apple, Spotify, and several other platforms that's on the website. So I can't wait to see you back next time here on All Things Pink.
You gotta get out there and explore, baby, let your love